Welcome back, everyone. It's been a long time, but I'm back doing the podcast again. Hopefully, this will be the last one ever, because it's just so disappointing.
Oh, so disappointing.
Anyways, new movie came out, Avengers EndGame. That's fantastic.
Oh, I've never heard of it. What is that movie?
It was a pretty independent release. You might not have heard of it,
I haven't even watched it yet.
What?
Lies, and slander all over.
It would be funny if I just make Sweetie watch it, but I don't watch it myself.
I would be livid at you. I took 3 hours out of a very busy day, and you couldn't do the same, you bastard.
No, I actually watched it twice though.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
That sounds more like you.
Yeah.
that's a step ahead of me.
Anyways, if any of you haven't figured out from the title and or what we've been discussing for these past 10 seconds, we are talking about Avengers EndGame. I'm joined today with, as always, Ghost Brand,
Howdy, my name is Ghost, and I'm a brand.
Super SoulSpark.
Hey.
Don't stop molesting your mic.
Sorry.
Sweetie
Oh
Blue.
my. Can we talk spoilers now? Is this a spoiler safe zone?
This is a we can talk spoilers, yes. And the Burning Donut.
Hey, it's your boy Donut. What's up?
We're gonna be talking about.
Going good.
We're talking about spoilers. So if no one has seen the movie and is watching this, or if anyone's watching this, thank you.
Fuck off.
Yes, thanks.
Yeah, I know, honestly. Oh my gosh, a single viewer. We love you.
Find me on
precious.
Twitch, YouTube.
Shut up! No,
Twitter.
the plug is at the end. If you plug right now,
No, nobody listens to the end.
Our goal
exactly.
is to have more viewers than we have people in the podcast. That's our end goal.
That's the end game.
Aha! You said it.
Wow.
He said it. That's it. Roll credits. Good
All
day,
right,
everyone.
nope, that's it. Yep.
My Little Pony.
And just to make sure that this is a spoiler, Iron Man dies.
Oh, you're just ripping the Band-Aid right out,
No,
aren't you?
well, okay. Well, that, honestly, I saw that coming.
Okay. Well, some people suspected Captain America to die.
I loved what they
Sacrifices
did
to
with
leave.
him. I loved what they did with him. But I saw Iron Man's death coming basically in the way that Doctor Strange was acting in Infinity Wars. Like, he was really adamant of Iron Man living. Like, that was the thing. It's like, no, don't kill him. I'll give you the stone.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like...
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so Iron Man's going to play a huge part, but, how is it going to make him, like, the number one hero? Well, by the number one sacrifice.
Yeah.
I did find it kind of annoying how it's like his supposed catchphrase is "I am Iron Man."
I am Iron
Well,
Man. I did find that a little cheesy. I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It was
kind
a
of
bit
fun. It's
cheesy.
how he came into the MCU. It's how he's gonna leave the MCU. It's nice. I like it,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, well,
All I needed was down.
Yes.
for me, I see it as a completion of his character arc. Most of Iron Man's progression throughout the MCU these past 11 years really has been about him and Iron Man. Is it the suit or is it himself? And that's something that he kind of deals with. In the end, words. In the end, he finally becomes the Iron Man he's supposed to be. He takes the responsibility on himself. It's not the suit that has made all of it possible. It is him.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
A funny thing about the Doctor Strange thing, I actually made a joke earlier when I was watching at the end of the first time I watched the movie. I was making a joke with my brother saying there was actually multiple ways to win. This is just the one where Iron Man dies, and Doctor Strange was happy with that.
Well, yeah, there's one.
Doctor Strange is a dick.
The one that I was kind of thinking is like, oh, this is the only way where we win. And I'm like, well, what about the alternate universe where, what's her name? The blue robot chick.
Nebula?
Nebula.
Yeah.
Where's the alternate universe where Nebula is like, oh, Thanos knows, and then immediately hits the wrist thing and goes back so that she's not the tool for him finding everything. Like, where's that alternate universe where she has the presence of mind to go snap and get GTFO?
Yeah.
Okay, that is one thing that bothered me. Okay, like shouldn't she have known that like they had a way to access her computers or whatever?
I don't think. Okay, I can understand how maybe she would have forgotten that she was on the same network as her previous past self. But when she finds out is when she should have just left.
She should exactly. Like I totally understand where she wouldn't have known because it's time travel and it's new and no one knows how it works. Blah 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 blah. So I get her like, oh snap, I didn't think that through.
Yeah, but like,
she should have been like, yeah, she should have left. She should have been like, oh snap, and then hit
it's like, oh shit, guys, I'm gonna fuck up this stuff. You guys got this. I'm out.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. I'm out. Bye.
But didn't she like only realize that after once the network had paralyzed her, though?
No, she was running. Remember, after she like woke up, she's like, oh, he knows, and then she runs to the ship and she's trying to call her teammates, and then the ship is being like, teleported up to Thanos' ship. Ample time for her to just hit her wrist.
Yeah.
All she needed to do.
There might be a big pause in the podcast because there's going to be something at my door. I apologize in advance.
What?
I had ordered something earlier, but it took a while for it to get here.
We'll have to do some video editing. Yikes!
You'll have to fix it in post.
Yeah, I'll fix it in post.
I haven't got foods yet today.
So, we started off with some very significant things in the beginning, but perhaps like...
Should we go? Okay, we started with the end for some reason because I'm a douchebag. So maybe we should go back to the beginning of the movie.
Well, if we're just gonna blurt out the biggest spoiler, I think to me the biggest spoiler was Captain America wielding Mjolnir was the best freaking thing in the freaking world.
I have to admit that was pretty badass. Like the entire, like the entire like ending or the entire like fight scene. I think it was like almost like half the fucking movie was just really fucking badass.
Yes. Adding on to the hammer moment. Mjolnir. Thank you. Adding on to the Mjolnir moment, just like the amount of excitement and happiness that Thor had before he got killed down by Thanos.
Yeah.
I knew it. I
fucking knew it, you bastard.
he had the look of like a crazed theorist pulling the strings together. And
yeah, it's like, my tinfoil hat theory was correct. Yeah. I think I also loved how it was shot, that you saw the hammer move. No, you didn't see who was holding it, but you also didn't see that anyone was holding it. So you could almost assume that Thor himself is controlling it.
Yeah.
So it isn't until like that great payback of him catching it where you're like, oh,
dude.
or payoff, I should say.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, like Captain America is like one of my favorite Marvel characters. So it's like you see him just like reach out his hand, like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then it's like,
exactly right. Fantastic. Watch the movie just for that.
I was watching the trailers and I found it so smart that they blended in so well at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
There was one scene I remember at the climax, the whole like everyone's lining up and getting ready and Captain America grabs Mjolnir and Avengers assemble. So epic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, the poor trailer guy was probably having his mouth water to use any of that footage, but every single shot would have been a spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee he had like notes like strapped up on his computer all over the place. Don't use this scene. Don't use that scene.
Don't use that.
And he's like, oh, dude, that'd be so epic to. Oh crap, I can't use it.
Crap, I can't use it.
Can't use that either. Oh wait. Oh man,
I can't use any of this good stuff.
Sorry, I meant the beginning of the movie, the heart-wrenching part.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The surprise, because it meshed in with the trailers. Like you're watching it in the theaters and you don't realize that the movie started.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like the Thanos hunt at the very beginning, and then he's dead within like the first like 10-20 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, all right, roll credits again. My little pony.
That was not an expectation of mine at all, as well as the 5-year time skip.
Yeah, I saw 5 come up on the thing, and I'm like, years?
5.
They're like, years. And I'm like, oh, snap! Can you imagine, like, Peter Parker's going back to school, and apparently half of his classmates have already graduated and stuff?
Yeah, that's gotta be a really weird... Like, for 12 years, class sizes are gonna be at an all-time low.
That's weird. How is Ned
Because
still
of the
in
5-year
school?
time skip.
Oh God! And then just
And then the peak again, and then suddenly you've got 1.5
look,
times.
everyone's back, guys. all these towns and cities, they're all like, oh man, we got so much. Sudden, we just spread out and stuff, and then it's just like, nope, we're full.
Yeah, I imagine traffic in LA was blissful there for a few years. And then it's like, oh, son of a bitch, where they came back.
Yeah. Rave all the way.
It's like, you know, I'm glad my family's back and everything, but god damn, this traffic sucks.
Everybody like Chad Debs?
Chad Hulk.
Chad Hulk?
Chad Hulk. Oh, I love Hulk.
Oh,
Such a
that
Chad.
was something they actually did in the comic for a while. I can't
Professor
remember
Hulk.
what it was.
Professor Hulk
Yeah.
is the full title.
I think I agreed with Valkyrie. It's like, I think I preferred either of your other versions.
Nah, he's a Chad.
He
It's the
dabs.
ultimate life form.
Interesting way to pull Hulk along, but I think that was probably Mark Ruffalo's best performance.
Yeah.
I find it funny how the fate of the universe was based off, not based off, like, it was in control of a rat pushing the right buttons to bring back Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like, so that was the one universe that Doctor Strange, you were rolling some serious dice. You were relying on a rat.
What other thing would dare to touch weird technology in the back of the van? Unless you have to be a very curious worker, that's the only thing that you could have outside of just a random spark, which is less believable than a rat in the
Well, I imagine he must have been like the most confused of everyone because it's like
Well,
it's just like gone and then comes
He's
back.
gone
and,
for 5
like,
hours.
5 hours.
Yeah. And he's like, "What the fuck happened?" They're like, "No, everything's gone." He's like,
Comes back, people are dead, his daughter's grown up. What the hell is going on? I want to eat my taco.
God damn.
The taco.
Oh,
Oh no, poor Taco.
I'm gonna make everyone sad right now.
He was so
Fortnite.
Taco.
Can we have a moment of
cute.
silence for Taco?
I'm gonna make everybody sad right now. Fortnite.
Oh,
That was the fact that Matini was in that scene.
looking
Oh,
at Korg
yeah.
was playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
Forget about the fact that Fortnite was there. Just appreciate the fact that Korg was there and asked Thor to insult someone by the name of Noob Destroyer 69, and that single username word made it into one of the most expensive films ever made. Noob Destroyer 69. Yes.
Come on, you can't say you've never thought about using a name like that before.
Well,
Not saying I haven't, just saying it shouldn't be in this film.
Well, I haven't, but I'm the token girl in this podcast, so that's probably a factor.
Uh,
Yeah.
I was
Wait.
actually surprised that Thor remained fat for the entire movie.
Yeah,
that
so
kinda
was I. I was expecting a training montage where he gets his
Were
body
you
back,
expecting
but
him to
no.
get like his body back once he grabbed his hammer or his axe?
No, I was
No.
expecting like
No?
a training
I was
montage.
expecting a training
Time skip.
montage too.
Training
Yeah.
montage.
I was
But instead
expecting
he stayed-
something.
At least
Fat.
cut his hair. Those dreadlocks.
But it did make him look very Old Norse god when he had the lightning going on with his eyes.
That's true.
That was pretty cool.
It added to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I kind of felt like I was watching like the old Mortal Kombat movie again. You know, remember like all those scenes with Raiden?
Oh
And
yeah.
it's like, I'm coming for your souls, and he's like, I don't think so.
That's racist.
Welcome to New
I know,
Asgard.
I was trying to do like his weird accent he's famous for doing, but I fucked it up and came out as Mexican. I apologize.
Yeah, New Asgard. I was actually confused about that for a little bit. Granted, this is something that you probably should have been able to infer about Infinity War, but it didn't look like it. When Thanos attacked the ship at the end of Ragnarok, and technically at the start of Infinity War, he did allow half of the Asgardians to leave. That was something I did not... Thinking back, it was obvious, but in the moment of watching Infinity War, I thought all the Asgardians were gone.
He only
It was
has a
just
quarter
Thor.
of them at the end of the movie.
A
Yeah.
quarter of them?
Yeah, because
Well,
the
I mean,
snap wipes another half.
mathematically speaking.
Ah, right.
Oh, good point.
So it was even less.
Yep.
That's highly unfortunate.
Speaking
But
about
at least
this,
Valkyrie's there.
Yeah.
speaking about the snap eliminating half, even though this is technically from a different movie, does that mean that probably means Groot wasn't the last tree person? Granted, the snap was probably half of all life, period. But if it was half of all life per species, I don't know. Just an interesting thought.
I don't know how they work the math out.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
it like half on a planet? Is it? Yeah, I don't know how the math
Half
works
of
either.
all life, that's all.
Hmm.
Yeah, but then like, what if there's like non-native life on that planet? Is it still like on the planet, or like what if they're out in spaceships? Like,
Well, I don't think nativeness matters.
Bacteria was wiped
It's
out.
just half of all life.
Oh yeah, bacteria would be wiped out.
I
Back
mean,
on to
technically-
Endgame.
technically, doesn't
Are we talking
Don't
about Infinity
trees
War or
count?
Endgame?
trees and plants count? I mean,
That's
Yes.
a good point. You didn't see any other than Groot, which sort of counts. You
I
didn't see any
mean,
plant life die.
like
Maybe it was just aimed at sentient. But
Sapient.
back to Endgame.
The actual movie we're supposed to be talking about, yeah.
Indeed.
yes.
Some other things that was showcased that I feel like could be pretty well touched on before, like Scott Lang returns to the party and goes into time travel. Ooh, we can talk a lot about time travel if we really want to. But, there was a little bit of a time heist.
Time heist. Yes.
Good name, but there was like a little bit of potential future movie foreshadowing with the scene before Widowmaker talks about throwing a sandwich. No, not Widowmaker. Oh my gosh,
Wait,
I
what?
hurt myself.
What
Why
the
did I
hell?
say Black Widow? Oh, my heart. I just had palpitations by confusing those two characters for some
We're not
dumb
talking about
reason.
Overwatch here, Soul.
Oh, my heart.
Overwatch.
That hurts.
It's dead.
Okay. So it was mentioned that there were earthquakes originating from the ocean. A lot of people are theorizing that this is pointing towards a potential Namor the Mariner, the Submariner movie.
Yeah. Is
Which
it
is-
pronounced Namor? I always thought it was Namor.
Namor is what I
Pretty certain
call
it's
it.
Namor.
I don't know who that is.
It's basically
so-
the Aquaman of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
pretty
like,
much.
like seriously, like the Submariner is way better, way better of a character than Aquaman.
Okay, we're not here to discuss that. We're just
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you know.
The Submariner, a good thing to point out, or a key thing, is that in the comics he is indeed partially a mutant. So this
Yeah.
could be the movie that introduces that, because they did just recently acquire Fox, though I
Fox,
don't know
which
whether or
means
not. Mhm.
X-Men should be part of the MCU.
I did notice that like they had the preview for the X-Men movie, and it had like the little Marvel thing of the comic pages at the front of it, and I'm not a huge fan of the X-Men movies, so I might have just this like never associated it. Like did that appear in
Yes,
the
X-Men does
movies?
have the comic book
Yeah.
flip thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it does, because it is still a Marvel property. It's just it wasn't a Disney property until recently.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now we just need Disney to buy out Sony, and we'll be good.
So it'll be very interesting to see how what they happen to do with that, because we still don't know anything at all about the next phase outside of the Spider-Man, which is
That's actually part of this phase, actually.
it is?
They confirmed that Spider-Man is is still part of this phase, but it's just leading everyone to the next one.
It's a closer and a palate cleanser from all of the high stakes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Time to start completely over, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised Captain Marvel didn't have that much screen time.
Oh yeah,
she
they
did.
made it sound like she would have like a very big effect.
No.
Yeah,
I
I think that was the point, because she's so OP. They kind of wanted her not around for most of it.
I was just hoping and praying that it wasn't that she was just gonna like fly in and just like punch Thanos once and be like, I'm the strongest of all.
Honestly, she kind of did at the very beginning of the film, in a way. Just she made holding Thanos down easy.
Really
And it
wish
didn't surprise him, and he didn't have the
she
stone.
had less.
She's all like, well, I wasn't there.
Well-
Jeez, I could have beat him.
Well-
Yeah, fuck you, lady.
Mostly, I kind of wish I could see them do more with the character, because it seems to be like, well, I did enjoy the Captain Marvel movie. They still kind of don't know a whole lot as to what to do with their character, and they have the same exact problem in most of the comics as well as even TV shows.
Unfortunate. Well, okay. This might not be a popular opinion, but I like the Captain Marvel movie. I was, in fact, like I was like massively relieved to find out that like she played a very small part in this one. So it was just like the whole scene where she comes in and she's just considered so dangerous that like all the spaceships that are just like pummeling weapons at Earth just stop shooting and then like aim at her, because it's like, oh my god, she's a threat.
It's a giant fireball coming down.
I mean,
Although I did like that. I remember like I was in the theater and they was like, oh, they're not aiming at us. What are they aiming for? And I said out loud, I'm like, where have you been, girl? Before she shows up, and like I felt bad because the guy next to me hadn't figured it out. So he's like,
No,
who's
I don't
coming?
know
And I'm like, I don't know who this could possibly be. And he's like, oh, it's Captain Marvel. Yes, that's. Who
I was actually kind of like that. Like she had such a little impact in the beginning of the movie. I'm like, wait, what the frick are they firing at? And I saw a little fireball. I'm like, oh, it's her.
Like, oh, it's Captain OP. Okay.
Yeah, Captain OP. Here she comes.
Yeah. And they do view her as more as a very big threat, because like in Captain Marvel movie, she can just destroy spaceships just by herself. And technically, out of all the characters outside of maybe the Guardians, they would have the most data on Captain Marvel in terms of what she does. So they
like,
know.
in the comics, like Captain Marvel played like such a small part to just suddenly say like, oh, this is like the character to watch out for now. It's like, what? I mean,
I think I'm just going to go ahead and refrain from stop talking about the comics. I'm just going to go and say the movies just become their own thing. They just pull ideas from the comics. It doesn't really matter about the comics at this point. I mean,
to an extent, yeah.
I mean, Thanos' motives are wildly different than they are in the comics.
Yep.
oh yeah.
I hate her personality so much.
You don't like her cockiness?
No. The
Wow,
only
you're
reason
just a
she's
sexist
cocky
then.
is just yeah, and then like there's that point where she like comes in, and then just like all of a sudden every female character just like gets like this massive power boost for some reason.
Okay, yeah,
And it's
that
like-
was both awesome and stupid at the same time. Like, there was a point in Endgame where it's like, we got this, and it was like Girl Squad, all the girls got together, and they were all badass. I'm like, that's cool, but it doesn't really make sense.
what the
except
hell?
that I don't know, like they just magnetized on each other. Like half of these women were with other people supporting them like 3 seconds ago. Why did you drop what you were doing over there to be like, oh,
It's like, yo,
Join the girls.
it's like, yo, Wasp, Ant-Man still needs help.
Yeah, Ant-Man is now abandoned. Wasp's like,
Such a
I gotta
eye
strut
roller.
with my girls.
I know. It was just like it's like I get why they did that because they needed that like girl power
girl
moment,
power,
but
yeah.
it was just like
It was so
Jesus
stupid.
Christ.
And
It's like I'm pretty sure Black Panther's over there getting his ass kicked right now. But
Exactly.
okay, sure,
Yeah.
whatever.
it needed to feel more natural, honestly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, I appreciate it.
I couldn't look at it without like being really excited and really happy. Girl Squad, that's awesome. But also thinking, your men are getting their butts handed to them because you just dropped everything and to join each other.
Anybody
Yeah,
get
I
a
was like,
football
Ant-Man
vibe?
is now doing
Not football.
Yeah, with the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I love this the keep way that they did with that.
Oh yeah.
Really felt the tension, and of course I love the moment of Spider-Man when he was holding it for like about 15 minutes.
He's like, does anyone else want the ball?
He's like, I got it, I don't got it, I need some help.
Oh yeah, and
Guys, I can use a hand
the
here.
significant thing, he
Activate.
activated
Insta kill.
Activate insta-kill.
Activate. Oh, wait, I have that? Oh, okay.
I've never seen Spider-Man 2. I was not expecting to see him go that way. Oh, like I know he's not going to do that for any other films, but just to
Yeah.
see him make that choice is surprising.
I mean, everyone else is killing the aliens. Why not him?
Well, true, but like Spider-Man doesn't do that a whole lot, so it's interesting just to see that actually happen.
Yeah.
One thing, speaking of alien death, I found really heartbreaking and interesting after Iron Man snap happens and you see all the enemy aliens disintegrating away. And in
Mr.
one
Thanos, I don't feel so
good.
good.
before Thanos fades away, there's this one shot, and I kind of hurt my heart a little bit because you see there's one alien who seems to have been struck down, and another one who's cradling their body, and then you see them fade away, and I'm like, because I'm like, we don't know that all of these were bad people. Like they were, a lot of them were probably just following orders and stuff.
Just brainless robots.
I didn't-
Hey,
I
even
don't
Hitler
recall
loved
seeing that
people.
part. I was distracted by Ebony Maw disappearing.
Mr. Thanos.
Mr. Thanos, I don't feel so good.
Part of me was like, if he says I don't feel so good, I'm going to both rage and laugh at the same time.
I think that would have undercutted the
seriousness.
Yeah, it would have. And let's see, another death we haven't talked about yet is
Black Widow.
Black Widow, yeah.
Ooh, their journey towards the Soul Stone. Yes.
Did anyone else actually feel anything during that part?
I was okay. I haven't seen like all of the movies. Did they even have that much of a relationship before this movie?
They were
Those
friends.
Two, they were super close friends.
They were
and
really close
they
friends.
indicate that they've been close friends for a long time.
Mhm.
Like prior to us meeting them, they were super duper close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even in the
I've-
first Avengers movie, remember they were like super tight.
Yeah.
Say nothing like Budapest.
Yeah, Budapest, all that stuff. Yeah, and I gotta say, I was with Black Widow on that. I would have been more sad if Hawkeye died, simply because while in a way, because he's been killing all these people, you might say, "Oh, karma," blah blah blah. But I'm like, but your family, dude, you've got a family, and they're doing everything to bring him back, and like.
Yeah.
You've got a family. She doesn't. Like, I hate to be that person, but she's got nothing. And she talked about that early in the movie. She's like, "This is my life now,"
She has a
Yeah.
family. It's them.
She has a family. Yeah, the Avengers. Yeah, but
Yeah.
she'd like been wasting away, giving everything to the Avengers, and she had no life of her own. And so I think like her giving herself to the Avengers again, it just seemed more fitting for her character.
Yeah,
so I was like, of the two, I
made
was glad it was her.
sense.
Yeah, I did I did tear up a little bit because I could just really feel the emotions of Clint through that whole thing.
Yeah.
I used him as a surrogate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just watching two people trying to kill themselves.
I know, right? That was fun. I just imagined the what's his name, the Red Skull guy, basically being like, "Well, this is new."
It's like,
Competing as who gets to throw themselves off.
Yeah.
it's like
Even after they've thrown themselves off the cliff, they're still fighting about it.
it's like they're
Like, what if they both hit the ground at the same time? What would have happened?
What would have happened? Yeah, I was wondering, like, if you both throw yourselves off, will neither
Super
of you
Soul
die?
Stone.
Or double Soul Stone. That's it.
Super SoulSpark.
Super.
Hey.
We never really know what the Soul Stone does on its own. Does it not have its own individual power?
The Soul Stone, it's just soul. That's it.
It just soul.
Yeah.
It is soul.
It
Plays
controls
the
your
funky
soul.
music from the 70s.
I mean, I don't know what powers it has from this compared to what the comics have, so I'm not really too sure.
I bet it warps your feelings for something.
I believe it can change your personality, in the comics at least.
Yeah. I haven't read the comics since I was like 12, so I would have to like go back and read again.
I
True.
haven't read the comics at all. Which, by the way, if the listeners are wondering why I wasn't jumping in to defend Captain Marvel, I haven't seen the movie, so I couldn't.
It's an alright
Yeah.
movie for a Marvel fan. For
It's had a lot of great moments.
for a casual moviegoer, it's not that good.
I have to say, I'm pretty cynical
give
of
you
the Marvel
that.
movies, so
It was the first movie in a long time I actually felt like walking out during. I was like, Jesus
The
Christ.
only movie I felt like doing that to was The Amazing Spider-Man 1.
I don't necessarily have a emotional attachment to these movies.
Yeah.
Get out of this
So-
podcast right now.
I can only be cynical.
Well, I mean, like, I have to admit, the movies to me are kind of like, because like I was like fans of this stuff like way before like it was, you know, before they were movies. Like I was fans when like I was a fan of this when like if you mentioned you're like, oh, I like Captain America, your first place you're going is the toilet for a swirly. So it's like, you know, so like. Admittedly, when it's like now it's suddenly cool to like these movies, it's like it's somewhat insulting, but then it's like sometimes they do it right, so you're kind of like, okay, you get a pass for that. You know?
It's just,
I liked Infinity War because of Thanos' story, but I felt Thanos was different.
Thanos wasn't very good in this movie compared to what he was in
Yeah,
Infinity
he
War.
wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
He changed his entire motive to annihilation.
Basically,
it's like he saw himself in the future, saw what happened. It was like, okay, well now I want to do this.
I believe his motive was, I got it done, but it's people like you that prevent this from happening. So he wants to wipe the Avengers and wipe the memories of what happened. I believe is what he wanted to do.
Yeah, he
'cause
wanted
It sounded
to start...
like he wanted to execute everything and restart.
It did sound like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he wanted to have the universe be grateful.
Well, he's kind of like, he's like, you know what? I'm done being a nice guy. Yeah, fuck you, universe. You're all gonna die now.
Well, yeah, like he wanted the universe to be grateful. Then you see that you are able to do exactly what you sought out to do,
And basically,
and the universe still isn't grateful.
and then basically, like the entire universe spent like 5 years grieving because of everyone they lost. And it's like, God, fucking weaklings, Jesus.
Yeah, like don't you see everything is good? Things are better now. Then no one still sees it.
But
So-
everyone is just like, oh, my
If he
brother,
does
no, my sister, no.
If he does a total reset, no one will have those biases that say what he
Yeah.
did was incorrect.
He's just like, yeah, you know what? Let's just start the fuck over. You guys are idiots.
It forces the
Free
universe
will.
to be grateful.
I had the feeling that more people were dying because of it, because a lot of people on Earth, at least, seem to have abandoned buildings, places that should have people don't.
What about what if
let's
planes that
face
had the pilots disappear?
Let's face it, humans are a pretty weak species, you know.
You wanna fight about it?
Half died, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure more than half died on Earth.
You know what was like the biggest surprise for me, and sort of like how does that work? Like, okay, so his van was what transported. Scott Lang's van was what transported to like a storage facility with a security guard on staff. Who's paying you? How is the economy working with half of the population gone?
Mhm.
How are you getting paid? What are you getting paid in?
Well,
How
he
is
was-
your job important enough to waste one of the few humans we have left
He was
sitting
one
around watching a
guy.
television?
He was one guy, and let's face it, he wasn't doing the greatest job.
But that's it. One guy is now twice as important as they were before.
At least he
So
let
why
Ant-Man
is the
out.
one guy? Why is the storage facility in business at all?
Well, something
why
just
are
Yes. You gotta store everybody's shit who disappeared somewhere, right?
So, makes sense if it was like happened like afterwards, but it's been like
But who's
5 years
paying?
later. Maybe they
people
did
that
think
are-
of something in those 5 years. 'Cause 5 years is still quite a bit to try to get everything at least somewhat fixed. Not like
Yeah.
fixed, but like
I kinda
back
wonder
to
if,
a
like,
start.
Yeah, it maybe if like the guys who own the storage units like, dude, we got all this freed up shit we can sell now. All right.
I imagine it was pretty much anarchy
Yeah.
For like,
first year.
Yeah.
and Captain America was like, "Hey, stop it."
Yeah.
Guys, you guys are morons. Stop doing that.
I wonder what kind of soup he was making. Thanos in the beginning of the movie.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was soup.
I want to try that fruit out that he was making.
I believe there's actually a fruit that looks similar to it.
It's called a durian.
Yeah.
Good. I want to eat it now.
Mhm.
I don't know, like any soup that's fruity doesn't sound great to me, but yeah, okay.
It could be a
All right,
vegetable.
Let's bring back some weight to the conversation.
Soup.
I know, right?
So,
No,
the trip
we
back
need
to
to know
Earth.
what kind of soup he was eating.
Ooh, I know. America's ass.
Oh yes, America's
Let's
ass.
head
That
back
is
to
He
America's
was
ass.
eating
moment.
America's ass.
The
Okay.
chaos that was trying to get the Tesseract.
Oh yeah.
The Captain America versus old Captain America fight.
Oh yeah. I actually did like the time travel bits.
The time
But I
heist.
was more interested in what the consequences were supposed to be.
Yeah. I really liked that they basically had kind of like two movies. They had like
Yeah.
almost like an Ocean's 11 type of thing going on at the beginning. And
Yeah.
then it's like, and then back to traditional Avengers, let's smash.
I was kind of annoyed because they took like ever to set that whole thing up, and then it's like, and because it's like they wanted to like fully establish what everyone was doing during that 5 years, and you're just like,
Yeah.
oh my god, can we just get on with this, please? I mean, I get it, we're all sad, everyone's
No,
dead.
you're here for
Yeah.
3 hours. You know this.
That
I
was the
didn't
thing.
know. I actually didn't know because I knew everyone was like, "Oh, it's 3 hours," but they always say that. Like, I thought it was hyperbole. So I went to like the 7:15 showing. It didn't feel like 3 hours to me. It really kept me invested.
It
where I
felt
really
like
didn't
two
feel
for
I
the-
me.
like that too.
It really didn't. Yeah.
It
But
felt
the
like 3
problem
hours
is-
for me, but
But the problem is, I had agreed to meet up with somebody at like 10:30. So I like after the movie, I'm like, "Oh, what time is it? Oh my gosh, it's 10:45."
actually the beginning did feel longer, but it sped up.
Yeah,
like
the
once
pacing really helped
everything
the
got
film.
going, it really wasn't just like the setup just before everything just felt like
I think they were really just trying to go, okay, this happened 5 years later, Ant-Man, this, all right, time heist.
something like that. Yeah, I mean, I get why they did it, but it's just like just
Yeah. Well, you've got to build up the character action, the character experience, especially with Tony. Suddenly, he's a dad now.
Yeah, that I think is the full motivation of why it was 5 years. The only reason it was 5 years is so he can have an adorable little child.
So he can have a life.
And you also need to have. If you're having a movie about time travel, you gotta at least make it somewhat believable. So this was their way of building up to getting the time travel thing to work, as well as having those character moments.
I almost forgot how he got back, and I remember now, and I hate it.
Right, who?
Who got back?
Iron Man.
Oh, just like
he
Marvel?
just figured out time travel?
No, how he got back to Earth.
With the beginning of the movie.
Captain Marvel those up. I kind of thought they were going to do something like that.
I mean, I knew I knew Captain Marvel was going to come save him, but I didn't expect him to be like, okay, she's here now. Like, it's like, did they send out a signal or what?
Yeah, it was funny. Like, he's like, oh, I'm gonna die. And I'm like, all right, where's the Deus? I was like, okay, here comes the Deus Ex Machina. What Deus Ex Machina?
There it is.
Oh, yes, the ultimate Deus Ex Machina of
I think
Captain
it would have
Marvel.
made more sense if, they used their last bit of power to send out a signal or something. Would have made at least a little bit more sense.
At least a bottle in the ocean.
So he takes the bottle, puts a note in it, throws it in space, just floats.
It clunks Captain Marvel in the head.
Someone make a comic of that.
Freaking Captain Marvel's like just traveling space, hits the bottle. Oh.
Ow, son of a... What the hell?
What the fuck is this? Oh, okay.
Oh, Tony Stark's over there. I should probably go save his butt. Alright, sounds like a plan.
I don't really like Tony, so he can go for it.
I know, right? I'm like, what was your motivation for saving him?
Captain America said so. And you don't say no to him.
Oh, you don't say no to Captain America.
That's a good point.
That's America's ass.
That's America's ass.
I really
America's
Captain,
ass.
when he said it himself, he's like, that is America's ass. I'm like, are you checking yourself out,
He
dude?
checked his own ass out. Like, what the fuck?
He's proud of it, man. That's super soldier ass right there.
Oh, yeah. He's like,
I feel like it was probably like an old joke that Iron Man did outside of the films. just to have that little extra bit of character, like, oh, it really does accentuate it that way.
I do like how his arc ended, Captain America's.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it. Oh, yes, I forgot it. I need to gush about the ship.
Uh, no, please don't bring shipping in. No,
let her bring in the ship.
The ship sank movies ago. They were like, "Here's your ship, but we're gonna make it sink, or rather crash into ice, and then it's super tragic." And all the Captain America movies talk about how super tragic it was. This ship sank, and it's so sad. And now it's just like, ship sailed. Ship sailed. Like, as soon as I saw he had a wedding, even before what's his name brought it into attention, I saw he had a wedding ring. I went, murder.
He got some of the life Iron Man wanted him to have.
Yes.
That was so nice.
Kind of makes the line in the beginning of the movie with Black Widow and Captain America a little sad. He's like, "You should get a life," and she's all like, "You first."
It did happen.
Implications. Ooh. That is harsher. Ouch.
You first. Well,
I think
another one. Get a life, and after you're dead, bitch.
I think another line that I really appreciate during the Captain America fight, where he's like, God. "I could do this all day." He's like, "Yeah, I know." It's like he just noticed how just.
It's like, my God, I'm an ass.
Yeah,
like,
he's like, gosh, I'm a pretentious prick.
It's like, Jesus, shut up, I know. Was I really like this?
Was I
hate to say it.
It's not, was I really? It's like, I know.
I hate to say it. It kind of reminded me of when Buzz Lightyear fought that other Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah. Was I really?
He's like, wow, am I really this conceited? And he's like, yeah, I know.
like, oh yes, I know your catchphrases.
I like how they did the whole thing with the Reality Stone. Give attention to the worst movie in the MCU. Everyone knows Thor: The Dark World. I kind of liked it, even though I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, they. Oh, you have. Wow. Okay.
We
Wow.
haven't seen
But I have read summaries and I have. I know every plot detail of
I
it.
watched the cinema sins of it.
No.
Yeah.
I watched the movie and the cinema wins. But anyhow,
Yeah.
so it was nice that they were able to do that sort of like connection moment with Thor and his mother. That was a very. That was something I did not expect them to do, and they did it like very, very nicely. And then, of course, having Rocket run away from the Asgardian guards.
Yeah.
Get that rabbit!
Time for probing.
What do rabbits look like in their world? I want to know.
Oh my god! Like,
And
and
I
like,
was
like,
super
I know
excited.
it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't just Thor that thought he was a rabbit. It was like all of them. Like,
All
what
of
the
them.
fuck?
Like it's a rabbit.
Like, do rabbits look like raccoons in Asgard?
Apparently.
I don't know.
Or is that what they just call raccoons in Asgard?
They probably don't know what a raccoon is because
Yeah,
they
because
don't.
raccoons are native to America. In fact,
Yeah.
the word raccoon is a native word because there was no word for it in any other country.
Oh, that makes sense.
I guess it makes a bit sense.
Also,
Make you
don't
love the
take
joke
away
more.
the ra in raccoon.
Okay.
Or this podcast gets demonetized.
I mean, yeah, so you're saying I shouldn't have my other friend on ever?
Well, no. See, that kind of coon is okay, but the other kind is not, because
Oh, he's already said it.
I'm just
it's
gonna
like
go
a
ahead.
hard R.
Great, good job. We're just banned from all of YouTube
I
ever.
fucked it up. Oh.
Damn this. Thank you.
Go see my Twitch.
Good night, everybody.
My Twitter.
I
So-
think my favorite part, though, of that scene has to be when Mjolnir was coming back, where he's like, "Oh, hold on," and he his hand out and like, "Mjolnir!"
Like, I'm still worthy.
Yes.
Yes. Again, this is something I honestly probably was really bad for spoilers while watching the film. You know, because I'm sitting there like predicting things as they're coming. You know, he holds his hand out and I'm like, Mjolnir! Immediately, and then I'm like, where is Captain Marvel been?
But what a fantastic way to boost his morale.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
curious what the Thor in the past thought when his hammer just disappeared.
Just disappear. Yeah, just like.
Hey guys, what the fuck?
It's just like
Someone find my hammer.
they
And then eventually a Captain America says, "Here's your hammer."
Here's your hammer back.
I'm just gonna find it funny. They just remake Thor: The Dark World. It's like he's in the middle of a battle, summons his hammer, doesn't come. He's like, "Where's my hammer?"
Speaking
That
of
would
which, one scene that I am disappointed that we did not have time for was while delivering back the Soul Stone, does Captain America meet the Red Skull?
Oh yeah.
Good
Granted-
point.
Because granted, before I thought that Captain America, before they were like, oh, he's an old man on the bench, I had thought that they were going to set up that Captain America is now just eternally fighting the Red Skull like he does in some of the older comics.
Oh.
That must be really awkward. He comes to freaking. He comes over there. He gets to the top of the mountain.
Stone.
He's like, I've come to return the stone. Red Skull's all like, Steve, son of. Pauses. He's like, shit, it's you.
He's like, what the fuck are you
didn't know.
doing here?
He does that
Guys,
like
I just got a
before-
new job, you know?
He does that like before he has Mjolnir back. So he's like, hey, I'm here to return the Steve Rogers shooting Mjolnir right in the face.
Now I just have to hold out hope for him showing up in Secret Wars now. The Red Skull.
Yeah. Well,
Next time.
so I think the biggest twist, I think, of this movie, more than anything else, that I did actually spoil for some people who haven't seen the film, There was no ending credit scene.
Oh yeah, no post credits.
Yeah, no post credit scene.
I actually appreciate that.
It's finished. It's ended.
No.
It makes it like a good ending.
Yeah,
this is
it's like,
there's no.
It's like, okay, guys, we're done. Go home.
You know,
Go home. Yeah.
Get out of here, you idiots.
I'm glad you looked. I'm glad you watched the credits, as not many people do.
And that's the thing. I got kind of like salty at some of the people in the that I was watching it with, because like, oh, that's 15 minutes of my life I'm never gonna get back. It's like, oh, shame and horror. You had to spend 15 minutes looking at the names of all the people who broke their backs for years to give you.
But the nice music though.
Yeah, nice music. At the very end, you got to
the Iron Man pounding thing at the beginning of the first movie.
Yeah.
It's actually a really nice way to end it off.
Additionally, I know a lot of people are upset about these movies like being half advertisements for other movies. So just to have it capstone off like that, even though there was technically like lead-ins for potential other movies in Infinity War, at the very least for 2 or 3, having it end this way, I feel would satisfy those people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Adds to the whole completeness.
I want to ask a question about the wedding scene. Okay, I know who this is, but do any of you know who the boy was in the wedding scene when they're showing all the characters?
Wedding? You mean funeral?
I said wedding because I was actually expecting a ending wedding, but we didn't get it, obviously. Funeral. The boy at the funeral.
Yeah, I was confused about that too.
Yeah, I know who that is.
Does everyone know who that is besides Donut?
I
don't
know.
Iron Man's.
Iron Man's funeral.
It's
I didn't know.
Yeah, it's the boy in Iron Man 3. I was confused at first. I searched it up. Yeah, it's the boy in Iron Man 3. It's the same actor. Yeah.
Cool.
It was really confused. I'm like, who is this? Is this Spider-Man Jr.? What is this?
Like they're just focusing on this kid a lot, as if he played something important. Like, okay, sure, whatever.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, though.
Adds to the completeness.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And the bouquet that had proof that Tony has a heart.
The proof.
That's when I had 2 tears.
You could hear everyone sniffing.
Sexy cry. Yeah, I think I only started crying, I guess, during his whole epilogue thing, the I Love You 3000.
I Love You 3000.
There it is.
Who?
I think it would have made it worse, how they could have made it worse, as I was almost like, I don't know, I was having, what's it called? Full Metal Alchemist flashbacks. I'm like, if this little girl starts going crazy about how her dad needs to go to work, I'm gonna have a breakdown.
Instead,
right here in the middle of this theater.
Instead, she was talking to Favreau about cheeseburgers.
Which was weird.
It's actually a reference to the beginning of the first Iron Man, where he returns back, and the first thing he says is, "I want a fucking cheeseburger," or something like that.
He asked for a cheeseburger, and then while he
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I figured it was a reference, but that I'm like, I'm probably not getting it. If they talked about shawarma, I would have gotten it.
Give you all the during the time heist where the director, not the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., whoever that guy, the Hydra agent is like trying to get the case, and Thor's like, "Oh, we're gonna go get some lunch, and then I'm leaving to Asgard." It's like, yep, I think they're gonna go get some shawarma.
They're gonna get some shawarma, man.
Oh, I forgot about that little bit of the detail.
I just love it. Like they just pay attention to every detail in this movie, and I just love it. You could watch this movie like 3 times and probably still not notice everything.
Yeah.
Especially during the war, because there's a lot of background details
so
to
much going on. Yeah. But not so much that you're overwhelmed while watching it.
No.
Because there are some movies that have like big battle sequences, and you're like, where am I supposed to be looking here, guys?
Yeah, Marvel, I believe, or at least the Russo brothers, are really good at making big battles like this with lots of characters to just really focus and interesting. I just really love what they did.
It's a good movie. Good movie.
On your left.
Good movie.
Go watch it.
I love all the line details to previous movies. Sam saying "on your left" when he gets on when the portal
Yeah.
comes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, referencing I believe the Winter Soldier.
That's it.
This is great. And then,
It's a good movie. Everyone should watch it.
ooh, and Iron Man just hugs Spider-Man when he finally
Oh
sees him again.
yeah. This is nice.
That was a good reversal. I
Also,
also
to
cried
the
at that.
Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
uh,
Well, it was nice that like you know, he was so like so excited to see that he was back and okay, and it was like oh.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-
He did feel it.
Spider-Man is just like babbling about how he's back now, and Iron Man's just like,
It's like, dude, I don't know what
What I
happened,
love,
but you know,
though-
it was just like, oh.
What I loved is how
This
it
feels
was
nice.
a window into what Doctor Strange had to freaking do. You know, it's like it's been
Yeah.
5 years, they need us, and he had to. Do you imagine how many times he had to say that to all those people? It's like, okay, here's the
Oh,
scoop. It's been 5 years. I'm gonna put you through this portal, and you're gonna kick some butt. Okay, go.
yeah.
oh,
Person. Okay, it's been 5 years. Go kick Thanos' butt. All right.
the line from to Doctor Strange to Huang is like, is this everyone? He's like, do you want it more?
I was like, yes, actually. Who else? Who are we missing?
I was actually very confused because I forgot they reverted everything. I was like, why is this happening?
Oh
I
yeah,
hate to say it, that reminded me of a scene from like the My Little Pony movie where he's like, "Hey, did we make anybody else?" Okay.
I like the way they handled bringing everyone back. You know, it's just like
Yeah.
it's not just
Yeah.
them coming back right in front of them. It's just
Yeah.
slow,
They're-
nice.
essentially-
Ant-Man's watching the birds.
Yeah.
Clint
I
gets
think
No,
it worked,
I think
guys.
it worked, which perplexed me because he's like, I think now actually I'm starting to think maybe half of the animals were wiped out.
Yeah.
Ant-Man seemed to have some sort of sixth sense because of the birds.
and then
He's
you
like,
know,
the birds,
It was like
therefore
he
it
started
worked.
seeing birds and stuff appear, and he's like, "Oh crap, it worked, guys!"
Yeah.
And if you ever get the chance, look up a particular song from the soundtrack, aptly called "Portals," from that very fantastic, Avengers Assemble portal scene.
Mm-hmm.
That is most of the MCU's music tends to fade into the background, but that particular piece is magnificent.
mm-hmm.
Ah,
Oh,
Yeah.
and the final not one of the final payoffs is him finally saying Avengers Assemble.
Yeah, and then I was like, he's like, Avengers? I'm like, come on, Assemble, say it. And he said it like,
Assemble.
the entire theater cheered at that.
yeah.
Oh,
when
yeah.
I-
Yeah, both times when I saw the movie, the theater just burst out clapping.
yeah, exactly.
Hey, you know, Michael Bay, if you're listening to this, and what the travesty to the
Did you just?
Transformers
Yeah,
movies,
yeah. Michael Bay's definitely listening to this.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just saying, it's like you
Right to him.
you see what this movie did. It's like you know, there's that one thing that the fans wanted, and they did, and people like that. And you know how Michael Bay has never given the fans anything they want.
No one cares
Yeah.
about Transformers.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
no one
my
cares about
point.
Transformers because of Michael Bay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No offense. I'm sure he's a great guy.
So, really,
probably not.
this is your podcast. How is it going? Very organized.
Very
Very,
disappointing.
very,
Hey,
point by
hey,
point.
hey! I'm not saying we have to go to the movie by order. It's 5 dudes having a great time talking about the movie they love.
Yay, I'm a dude.
I'm just jesting.
Hey, I'm a dude. I guess these boobs just kind of came out of nowhere. Yeah.
So, I didn't say I loved it.
Okay, about a movie. Okay, 4 dudes about a movie they loved, and 1 dude who's just here.
It was good.
All right, 3 dudes about a movie they love, and 2 dudes that need to get the hell out of here right now.
Look, the war scene was very kid playing with their toys. Fantasy.
But it
I
was
mean,
done so
I was
well.
okay with that. That was like that's what the comic books felt like, you know. It was like, you know, when you're reading a comic book and like all your favorite superheroes are getting together and like bashing the crap out of the bad guy. It's like
Well,
that was the feeling that like so many of these movies like forgot that they're supposed to have, you know. And it was like to just see like this bash fest of this like all these heroes just like fighting and like having to work so hard against this super strong villain. It's like that. I don't know. I really appreciated that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that whole sequence kind of rivals like some of the scenes in Lord of the Rings when they have all of those armies. It is on a similar scale of that, and it was done really well with all of these individual character moments. Oh, I fell in love with this thing. Well, it was either him or a tree. Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch being like, "You remember me? Well, you will now," and then slamming rocks at Thanos. Just
it's like, you ruined my life. I don't know who you are.
I don't even know who you are.
Just, how did everyone feel when Thanos was, beating Captain America and breaking his shield?
I did not expect to see that in this movie.
That was such a badass scene, though. It was like, it was like, I hate to say it, but like one of the things that made Captain Marvel such not a good movie in my point was that like when she would get into a fight, like she was overpowered. She overpowered everyone. She had no struggle. There was nothing really threatening going on. But like in that scene where Captain America is facing like the ultimate evil in the entire universe, and his shield is falling apart, and he's having to use the hammer too, and it's like every blow is just basically killing him. It's like that is what a fight is supposed to be. That is supposed to be where you're sitting there going like, holy shit, he's feeling it. The shield is breaking. He is getting hurt. He's feeling this. And it's like, I don't know. I was impressed with
job.
Yeah, true.
It's great, He's at the end of the battle with Thanos. He's kind of beaten, gets up, straps that shield just more, and he's ready to take on an entire army by himself. That is a power move right there.
That scene really proved how much Thanos kind of changed to where he wasn't doing it out of hatred, but
it was never personal.
Yeah, but when he was fighting Captain America and them, it became personal.
Yeah, in fact, that's what he said. It was like, he said that like at first, it was like, I know you
and
people.
Every blow
know,
to
now...
Cap's shield felt like his anger and stuff.
It felt like it's. Yeah,
at first it was just like, I'm trying to help the universe. Now he's just like, fuck you guys.
And then, even more into like impactful fights. The turnaround at the very end, Captain Marvel running towards the time machine, Thanos being able to throw his blade just before she gets there.
Oh yeah.
It blows up, and then they wrestle over the gauntlet between Thanos and Captain Marvel, and he does the very slick, clever idea of pulling one of the
Power Stone,
pulling the purple Joan out. The Power Stone.
Joan?
I'm going to say gem. I'm too excited. He pulls out the Power Stone and then punches her in the face. That clever little tactic that Iron Man ends up using.
Iron Man learned.
He's like, he can pull out the stones? Well, how about me?
So can I.
Yeah. Except he was a little bit more sly because I'm pretty certain the gauntlet was also made out of nanomachines. So he just had to get close, touch it, the connection was made, and it flies on in. That was nice.
Yeah.
Although there was a little bit of inconsistency, I feel, because the thing is, we see, so at the beginning of the movie, we see that Thanos, when he used it a second time, it nearly destroyed him. And they're talking about, using it every time, it nearly killed him. I'm like, funny, because in Infinity War, he looked fine.
Well, his hand was burned, it was definitely, you could see, damage to his arm at least. He's supposed to be more powerful than Hulk, as we saw in the first movie. So it makes sense that the first snap, it would burn part of his arm, maybe not all of it. He's powerful enough to handle it.
And the gauntlet was smashed to bits from that snap. that very first one.
Yeah.
Though it didn't.
But that was the gauntlet. Maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention. I don't remember it being him himself that was hurt.
I guess
Yeah.
I guess I can understand why, because when he snaps and he's in the soul world, I guess still don't know what it is. His hand's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and technically on the farm scene, his hands looked okay as well.
Yeah.
I can't remember whether or not he actually folded his arms in front of the camera, or if he just simply crouched down, his hands were at his side.
I think his hand was not, his gauntlet hand wasn't too visible, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Oof, what a movie.
Yes.
I know we already talked about this, at least I think. How did everyone feel about the opening of the movie with Hawkeye with his family? I just wanted, how do you guys feel about
the beginning,
how you felt about that?
The feels.
the anticipation.
Were any of you just
know what
clenching your fists like, oh, it's coming, his family's disappearing?
Yeah. No, I knew it was going to happen. It was just
you know what's going to happen, but you just feel that you're scared because you know how he's going to react and whatnot.
It's pretty much like a standard thing in movies that, if ever a hero is happy with his family,
Yeah, it's like
They're
and
gonna
they're
die.
all dead. And 2, 1.
No.
Actually, I didn't expect them all to die. That was one thing.
Yeah.
I expected the girl to die. I'm like, oh,
No.
you dead. You be
No.
dead, girl.
I mean, yeah, it's like, however, when you did imagine his specific situation, where it was like there really wasn't a sign of what happened. Like all you know is just they're gone for some reason.
Yeah,
That would be
yeah.
fucking horrifying.
That would be because he has no idea. And how long did it take him to find the nearest, whoever could give him the information about what happened?
Yeah, they're in the middle of nowhere. Or
Yeah.
at least,
Probably
out in the country.
At least to try to contact at least some of the Avengers when it happened.
Well, I mean, if your
Well, does
family is
he
missing,
know it's if it's Avenger is the Avengers must know.
it's like, come on, guys.
I mean,
Yeah.
at least he'd probably try to contact Natasha.
Eventually,
I actually imagine it's the other way. She's she tried to contact him to see if he was alive. Or, if he was one of the ones who vanished, and then, she's and probably he's in a panic about his family, and she's like, oh yeah, about that.
I mean, yeah, anyone who's seen a parent who has lost track of their kids, that panic is
insane.
Yeah.
And they do show him reaching out because he is under house arrest, and he was reaching out to the guards first because he knows that they're there. Granted, who knows how many guards survived because he was. But oh man,
I like the way that was shot when the part where he finds his his daughter disappeared. It's not in this steady filming type thing. It's in handheld, shaky, kind of following him kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's you
The
kind of just feel
directing was
it.
really great. The directing was really great
sick.
with that. Yeah, the handhelds for the sake of the panic. Of
It's
losing-
supposed to make you.
made me sick.
It's supposed to make you sick.
Well,
It's
really
supposed to. You're
wasn't-
supposed to feel like.
It
But I
really
like
wasn't
It was-
handheld
it
because
was
Well,
motion
yes.
sickness and not sad sickness. Okay.
No, it is sad sickness, and you're gonna deal with it.
No, I feel nothing.
Shut up.
I really liked it. Yeah, the handheld for the panic, but that I know, quote unquote handheld. Obviously, it's not literal.
no,
Obviously.
I know, it is,
But and I'm glad that they didn't use it throughout the film because yes, that would have made me sick. Because a lot of Michael Bay, people do that with the whole shaky cam, and it's like, okay, I get that you're trying to make it all intense, but I can't see anything, and I'm gonna vomit. So having it just a little bit at the beginning was good. Another directing choice I really, really liked, kind of switching up a little bit. After they kill Thanos and Thor is walking away, the lens blurs almost as if in almost the same way as if you're welling up tears. It really felt like you were about to cry with the way it dissolved in that way, and that was a really cool directing choice. I remember.
yeah, that's something I hadn't considered until now. Yeah, I really need to give it a second viewing.
Everyone needs to give it a second viewing, except Brandon.
Well, if you're paying for
Yeah,
it.
we'll let Brandon save his money.
I'll give a second viewing when you're viewing it for a fifth time.
Don't tempt him, man.
I'll probably just get it on Blu-ray once it gets out.
They're normally pretty quick about these Marvel movies, aren't they? Like
Well,
it'll probably be out
About
on
3
Blu-ray in
months to
about-
4 months.
Black Panther was actually in theaters a lot longer than any usual movie, so
Well, that's because it was also a Oscar-nominated film.
true.
It came back to theaters for that purpose.
So that hopefully the rest of Hollywood will allow that to happen for Infinity War. But granted, doing so
You mean
will be
Endgame?
Darn it! People getting so tied into how it used to be Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Well, which do you think was better, actually?
Infinity War was a better movie, but this one was a better spectacle.
Yeah,
I still prefer
this sounds
Infinity War.
Infinity War was definitely a movie, but this one was an event.
Well, like the epic battle at
This was
you kind of had this. Well, we've seen this already, but I mean, it was cool before, so why not do it again? You know?
Yeah, Infinity War was definitely like a Thanos movie.
Yeah.
Endgame was like just an ending movie for the main guys.
An end game, if you will.
The close of the traditional Avengers.
Well, this has been a nice podcast. See you.
Yeah, everybody.
Well,
how long are we going?
That's actually a good question.
Okay. we can end it soon if you guys want. If you have anything more to say.
well, we could close it off with...
You're the host.
Yeah, you are the host. But
True.
I think it might be somewhat fitting to close it off on this last bit of discussion. Going forward, outside of the Spider-Man film with Mysterio, what are you guys hoping to see in terms of movies, potential characters? Because we only have so much information available to us at the moment.
I would love to see a reboot of Ghost Rider because, like,
Say,
Ghost Rider is like such an awesome
But
character.
Ghost Rider is,
but, like,
is already in the MCU.
well, outside of
reboot.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I would like to have the movies done justice.
yeah, like even if they have Nicolas Cage in them again, just fucking like, because like actually have like demons and stuff, like fucking that would be awesome. But yeah,
By the way, this
just
is a rated R podcast.
heck yeah. Oh, sorry. I mean, that would be freaking swell, guys.
Yeah,
Hella tight and all that.
we do at least have like a few movies so far that have been spread throughout the rumor mill. Oh, wow, why is my language so odd today?
Because you're tired.
Suppose so. The rumor mill.
I DM'd.
True. I had 2 D&D games yesterday, so add that to my befuddlement.
I had plenty of sleep.
Oh, how nice.
I woke up too early.
Continue.
Oh yes, I am bringing up the information as we speak, but I do know that there is plans for a Widowmaker. I did it again!
Wow.
Black Widow.
Those snipes, eh?
It's going to be a Widowmaker movie.
Make sure you hit the
Crap
head.
movie. There's going to be a Tracer movie.
Oh,
Oh my god, there's a Bastion.
so awful more than night in terms of being a fan of
Okay,
something.
either yes, a Black Widow movie, yes.
Yes.
A
right.
Loki TV show. I know about that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
thought Loki stayed dead.
It could.
seem
It could. There's
be
two
a
things that I'm
prequel or
thinking:
something?
prequel, or we get to see what happens when Loki escapes during that time heist.
Yes.
Just
But
stuff.
isn't
Okay.
the whole idea that the actor doesn't want anything to do
Well,
with it?
I think Tom Hiddleston's still good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
He still
I thought
really
he was
likes
one
playing
of the ones who was
Loki.
like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Nah,
No,
I don't think he
it's
was.
Iron Man and and Captain America who don't
Many.
who want to
Other-
retire the characters.
Anyhow, the movie rumors that we have, Namor I have already mentioned, but we also have plans for, of course, as everyone would expect, a third Guardians film,
Hmm.
Eternals, which sounds like they are. It could be either. From what I've heard, people are thinking that it is a movie about Thanos' origin, but also exploring other celestial beings that are as powerful as Thanos. There is, of course, Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther 2, but interestingly enough, there is a Shang-Chi movie being discussed, which is a huge pull. Shang-Chi is
Wait a
a...
minute. There was also they also like mentioned for Adam Warlock to be brought up in the
Yeah, at the end of Guardians 2, Adam Warlock.
yeah.
I think they're probably saving that for Guardians 3.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm pretty certain that they're saving it for that. Which some people are suspecting that Guardians 3 could be called as Guardians of the Galaxy, but who knows, because Thor's there.
We actually don't know if Thor was part of the original script.
Oh yeah, we don't know if Thor's gonna be... We don't know if Guardians 3 is actually gonna be with Thor and after Infinity War, or if it's gonna be beforehand. So who knows?
We'll see.
But anyhow, there are rumors about making a Shang-Chi movie, who is a superhero that has their home in China.
Yeah.
Which makes sense for like box office stuff, because Marvel gets a lot of revenue from China for their films. But
Oh,
I did a little bit.
What's their superpower?
That-
He was basically kind of he was a lot related.
To what?
So he's basically just like Bruce Lee but a superhero.
A somewhat.
Because, like, his comic was called like Shang-Chi the Masters of Kung Fu or something like that.
Yeah. It basically like a different, not quite the same, but a different kind of Iron Fist in a way. I believe they may have had similar powers, but I didn't research into that part. What got me interested was whether or not Shang-Chi was a part of the Marvel Knights, which he is.
Oh.
Which is another Marvel organization that operates similarly to Avengers, but not quite. Because another fun fact: Spider-Man is also part of the Marvel Knights, and with this potential rumor thing with Shang-Chi, they could be setting up for that.
I wonder if
Meaning
we'll ever
we
get...
might see Moon Knight. I'm hoping Ghost Rider is possible because of this. Because
I hate
Ghost
to
Rider is
say
a
it, I
member
would
of the
love to
Marvel
see
Knights.
it.
Daredevil film, please, unless they are going to continue the Daredevil TV show.
Daredevil
and then-
films.
Yes.
They
So we'll see.
recontinue the Netflix shows, maybe. Well, probably not, but we'll see.
Yeah, I believe the Netflix shows, we have 3 years, and then they're being continued on the Disney streaming service. I have got.
Oh yeah, Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. We're not sponsored.
Yeah, that's. I'm
I
gonna have to see how I feel about that when the time comes. If the TV shows are actually
I'm
gonna
buying
be more
into it.
concrete into the universe of the new
Alright.
films.
I think it's about that time we should start ending it up.
Oh, finally, we get to say our ratings.
God.
All right, let's go through everyone, see ratings or just the final thoughts about the movie. Let's go in order of top to bottom. It's okay. Ghost Brand.
Oh me, I thought
So
it
if you
was
stop.
last.
Oh my.
Yeah, oh my. Here's my expectation.
It's funny because Sweetie's actually in the middle in this call.
Oh my.
Thought it was slow. I can't feel attached to the movie, but I thought it was well made.
Okay, we get it.
did
You
have
hate it.
A lot of fan service, I would say.
Yeah.
But if I had to give it a rating, I would say maybe 68%.
Jeez, that's pretty low.
All right.
That's a D. What do you mean not bad? In private school, you freaking failed.
Okay. So SoulSpark, you're next.
Yeah, so I am certainly a big Marvel fan, but the movie was. Oh, we gotta organize my thoughts for all this. The movie was dealt with. It gave the whole thing a very serious weight. Things were done realistically. The use of time travel was largely believable, and it was a fun ride. Fantastic way to include a 11-year. I still can't wrap my mind around 11 years of building stories on a scale such as this. I would like to rate it like very, very high. To give it numbers, a 9 out of 10. I believe a perfect 10 is an impossible achievement. So a 9 out of 10 is the highest I could ever give a film. And, what a fantastic way to send off some of our favorite characters.
Alrighty, Sweetie Bloom.
I love the heck out of it. It was really well paced. It kept me invested. I'd say, it threw some curveballs I wasn't expecting. It gave me also what I expected at the same time. It gave me what I didn't expect. It gave me what I wanted. I'd say only like a nitpick of a plot hole. So I'm gonna say 9.8 out of 10.
Alrighty. Me, will you please share your thoughts? Thank you, me.
The way you're talking to yourself.
Damn it. Again?
We know of a doctor.
I have a strange feeling I know who it is. Bad joke. Anyways, I enjoyed the movie, actually all the way throughout the entire movie. No really dull parts for me. The only thing maybe I didn't like about the movie was the maybe too quick paced of how the beginning parts, just how just kind of went through the whole Iron Man thing. Other than that, it was actually a really enjoyable movie. It gave me what I want. It gave me, like Sweetie said, it gave me some surprises, and it gave me what I want. Rating probably 90% out of 1 billion. No, 90% out of 100.
That's a low grade.
90% out of 100?
Yes.
That's actually really low.
Well,
No,
from
that's
100%.
90 out of 100. That's
90 out of 100.
90.
But 90% out of 100, that would be 0.9 out of 100.
You know what? I don't care. Okay.
All this math is making my head.
Okay. You know what? 90 out of 100. There we go.
Thank you.
Look, I already had to calculate fantasy taxes.
Which you really didn't have to do. Anyways, Donut. To take us out.
Oh,
what do you
donut's the
think?
bottom. Oh my.
Well, I hate to say it. I felt it was too long. It felt like there was too much around like the good parts. It was like it hung around for too long and it started too slow. But like once the action got going, it was pretty darn good. And this is from a guy who actually is not a big fan of the Marvel movies, so I would say probably closer to about 80%. I mean 80 out of 90. So it was pretty good.
80 out of 90?
80 out of 100. You fucking.
I've gotten everyone confused with math, and I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
I'm
Okay.
terrible with numbers anyway, so fucking.
All right, I'm going to come up with a rating system that we all have to follow next time.
Yeah, continuing the
give it a
themes of disappointment.
I give it a tomato out of a donkey cart.
I give it a please give Scott Lang his tacos.
I gave it 68 out of 100, and you guys compared it to the ABC system.
4 flashlights out of 5 flashlights would shine bright again.
68 to me is good.
Okay, Brandon, just give it what you really think. You give it a Chad Hulk.
Chad Hulk, yes.
Chad Hulk.
One solid
Again,
channel.
I was raised in private school. Anything below a 70 is a failure.
All right, then. Even though a 50% is I enjoyed it for movies.
Yeah, 50% is like, it was good, had bad moments.
Okay. This isn't the American school system.
50% for me is I'm not sure if I would recommend it or not. Like, that's where 50% falls on me.
That's 40%.
No, 40% is like, screw that movie.
What's a 10% for you?
I
This movie
regret.
fucking sucked.
Yeah,
I want my
I
money
regret
back.
seeing the film. I want my time and my money back from that film.
Where would you rate The Room?
Yeah, I was just about to say.
A negative 32.
I've never actually seen it, so
Okay,
I've seen all the reviews of it. Does that count?
okay. Either way, it's been fun hanging out with my pals again.
Aw, thank you, Lou.
Except Ghost
Ew,
Man.
friendship. You can find me on
Friendship is
Twitter.
great.
Okay,
Twitch.
okay.
yeah.
Hold up. I'll let you plug. Just let me finish. It's been fun hanging out with my friends again. It's been nice. This whole thing has been fun. Would anyone like to plug anything before we leave?
I'll do it in the comments after 5 months has passed.
All right. Okay, let me rephrase that. Brandon, please plug your stuff now.
Finally, you can find me. I do Dungeons and
All right,
Dragons
goodbye, everybody.
Sundays on Twitch. Same name. My YouTube is Ghost Brand, but the URL is jumbled.
It's because he doesn't have 100
It'll be in the
subscribers
description.
yet.
Don't worry.
And
Subscribe to this. Yeah, get him some subscribers so he can get a custom URL.
my Twitter's pretty personal. It's got some naughty stuff on it.
Oh my.
All right, you can
post
find
NSFW?
Brandon on Twitter. You can find him on YouTube. You can find him on Twitch. You can find SoulSpark on the internet. You can find Sweetie Bloom and other people's videos, and you can find Donut
Yeah.
on YouTube.
You're not
What's the
wrong.
next
I
podcast?
also have a DeviantArt and Affinity.
Next
And-
podcast
I
will.
have a Twitter. I tweet
and a
like
Twitter.
more than I do anything else.
And an Instagram.
Can we do the next podcast on the Fishbowl Head Spider-Man movie?
And Facebook.
The next one, I'll try to do it on the Spider-Man movie. If not on something else, I feel like it's interesting to talk
Oh,
about.
okay.
Spider-Man.
It's actually probably gonna be about some other games I want to talk about. Or either way, I hope you were disappointed with this podcast. I'll see you all later.
Yeah.
Bye.